You're not performing at the level that you're actually capable of because your identity isn't wired for hunger and obsession. And we're going to talk about what those are more in a bit. But until you have those two things in sync on the same page, you'll always have trouble finding that drive that you're looking for, or sustaining it, or breaking through to that next level, or finding that consistency. But I'll ask you a question. What if drive isn't random? What if hunger is something you can engineer, not a burst of motivation that disappears when you actually need it, like most people describe it, but a state that you can trigger on command? In this video, I'm going to show you how to reconnect with your natural pursuit instinct, the part of you that unlocks all the hunger, the drive, and the focus you need to break through to that next level that you've been looking for. And by the end of this video, you'll know step by step how to rewire your mind for relentless drive that feels natural and not forced, because contrary to popular belief, discipline isn't actually the answer. Hunger is. I'm a former dual sport collegiate athlete. I had an opportunity to play in the NFL for a very short amount of time. At a point, I finished second in the international natural bodybuilding competition. I've scaled a business to the top 1% from an earning standpoint, and now I'm a mental performance coach, and I've coached over 500 men, from executives, entrepreneurs to professional athletes, on exactly how to reconnect with this natural drive that we have inside of us. And the first thing I want you to understand is that being driven isn't a personality trait, it's biology. Neuroscience shows that when life gets easy, dopamine, the chemical that drives pursuit, drops by almost 50%. So you feel flat, you feel stuck, you feel heavy, like you want more, but you can't explain why you're not moving, why you can't be consistent, why you keep having to start over. It's why so many athletes fall off after the big contract, not because they got weaker, but because the environment stopped requiring that drive instinct. And every human is born with it. Every human is born with the pursuit instinct, and it's not motivation. It's something completely different. It's built-in wiring that made your ancestors chase, build, protect, create, and innovate, right? So drive isn't something you learn. It's something you lose connection to. The real problem isn't ambition. It's disconnection from that wiring. Because you still want more. If you're watching this video, that part didn't leave, but your system isn't sending the signal to move. What most people call burnout or laziness or falling off is really just a broken connection between who you are and foundationally how you're built to operate. Comfort has replaced challenge. Your nervous system evolved in a world that demanded pursuit for food, for progress, for safety, for shelter. That daily chase kept your drive alive. But now, I mean, we live in a world where you can get anything with the click of a button. You don't have to pursue anything to survive, for the most part. And when pursuit stops being necessary, that's when that drive starts to fade, because your brain sees no purpose for it. And we live in a society today, unfortunately, where society rewards comfort. It doesn't reward pursuit. You're praised for fitting in and not being exceptional. You're praised for being safe and maintaining. Things like hunger and ambition and intensity are labeled too much and obsession and overkill. And there might be something wrong with you, when really what has happened, because of these things, you adapt downward, even if it's on accident. So you've likely traded instinct for analysis. So instead of moving, you overthink. You've traded pursuing for planning, because that makes you feel like you're still taking steps. And instead of hunting, you hesitate. We're going to talk more about what that is. Your brain used to send the signal to go, but now all it fires is think. And thinking is where drive and hunger actually goes to die. Your biology is built for pursuit, but you're psychologically conditioned for comfort, which is what happens to a lot of people. That's the silent conflict of every high performer who's lost their edge or their drive. Your biology wants to move forward, but your environment keeps teaching you to stop. So the thing I want you to understand is you're not broken, you're disconnected. You reconnect the instinct and drive becomes automatic. High performers who stop pursuing stretch goals, which is things that they don't have, things that are outside of them, show a 30% drop in overall life satisfaction, even when their income goes up. You see this in professional athletes all the time. They fight for years and years to earn the massive contract, and then they sign it, and what happens the very next season, 99% of the time, their performance drops. It's not because they're lazy. It's not because they're over the hump or they're over, whatever people typically say, but it's because the target that fueled their drive has disappeared. Their brain stops hitting them with the same pursuit chemistry, and their hunger fades because now they don't have a pursuit. They've gotten there. That's what happens to every elite performer who stops chasing something meaningful or something outside of themselves. I want you to understand something. The cost of ignoring the instinct isn't small. It is literally your potential. You lose your edge and that drive the moment you stop chasing. And when you stop pursuing a goal, your brain stops releasing the chemicals that make you drive. You don't feel alive. You don't feel focused. You start to drift, and you find discipline and consistency in getting going extremely challenging. And the thing is comfort will trick you into thinking you're fine. You'll feel okay. You might be doing well. Money is good. People probably respect you. And that's exactly when you slow down, because your brain believes that the hunt is over. Your environment is padding you almost. Well, not almost. Your environment is padding you. And you start reacting to life instead of being intentional and being proactive. You respond to to what shows up instead of deciding and charging forward. And progress always stops when the pursuit stops. Every leap in your life has happened when you were chasing something. I really want you to sit down and think about it. And every stuck moment came when you weren't chasing or pursuing something. This is why top performers feel empty after success. They hit the goal and then they feel nothing, because the high doesn't come from the win. It comes from the chase. And without the chase, life goes flat. I want you to think about an NFL player celebrating in the end zone. He's not celebrating being in the end zone. He's celebrating how he got there, breaking the tackles, the spin moves, and the stiff arms. You start thinking something is wrong with you. Why don't I care like I used to? Why can't I get myself to move? But nothing's wrong. You're just disconnected from the drive you were born with. Your brain is built for pursuit, not rest. You were wired to move towards something. You were wired to solve problems and to grow and to innovate and to create and to stretch. And when you stop doing that, your system will shut down. But the hunter identity is the bridge between wanting and becoming. It's what turns desire into motion. It keeps you sharp and driven even when life gets easy. It makes progress feel natural and not forced. And when you connect to the pursuit instinct, everything changes. You wake up with direction. You feel that fire inside of you again. You feel that pressure in a good way, and you stop stalling, and you build momentum a lot faster because you take action a lot faster. There's this reoccurring message that I really want you to understand, is that fulfillment comes from movement, not balance. You don't feel alive when everything is calm and perfect and you just chill all day every day. You feel alive when you're growing, when you're building, when you're chasing, when you're training, when you're fighting for progress, when you're fighting for that next version of yourself. So the main thing I want to drive home at this moment is you're not tired. You're just not challenging yourself, and you don't need balance. You need something to chase, something to fixate on. Studies show that up to 90% of peak performance comes from subconscious identity patterns, not motivation, not effort, and not skill. For example, when Michael Jordan returned to baseball, he wasn't the strongest or the youngest or the most skilled. But as soon as he reconnected with the identity of who he was, that hunter, that assassin, the man who always found a target, everything clicked again. His entire game changed the moment his identity snapped back into place. His neurology remembers it. Let's actually dive into it. Here's what's really happening in your brain when drive dies and how to turn it back on. The first thing I want to do is to be crystal clear about what a hunter is. A hunter is someone who lives by pursuit. They structure their day, their environment, and their identity around moving toward a goal. Your brain is built for pursuit, not comfort. When you chase something meaningful, your brain releases dopamine. Not when you get it, it's when you pursue it. Action creates dopamine. That's why training, building, and competing or creating feel good when you're locked in. But when life gets easy, dopamine drops and drive drops with it. Most men will call it burnout. It's not burnout. It's your brain starving for something to focus on and something to chase. Drive doesn't disappear. It just powers down when you have nothing to chase. When you think about a hunter, I don't want you to think about a metaphor. This is a biological mode that we have in our DNA. So the first thing is hunger turns on when your brain sees a gap. This is called prediction error. The space between where you are and where you know you could be. It's for people normally refer to it as a goal. When that gap is clear, hunger activates. When it's blurry, hunger shuts off. That's why many high performers lose their edge after success. The brain stops feeling that gap, so it stops fueling the pursuit. But they think they lack drive and hunger, but they don't. They just lack that clear gap because they've already accomplished everything they said they dreamed about accomplishing, right? So the second step is obsession, predatory obsession. This happens when pursuit becomes identity, when the target becomes personal, when it's part of who you are. Your brain rewires for deep, natural focus. This is called identity fusion, and it cuts out the distraction without effort. I want you to think about how basketball players kind of move the same and have the same body language. Their identity and their body molds for their pursuit of basketball. It makes work feel natural. It turns discipline into a relaxed state, a state of being almost. It removes hesitation. It creates a calm, locked-in focus because this is what you are supposed to be doing. Athletes refer to it as flow. Founders call it in the zone. Scientists call it task positive network dominance. And the idea is that obsession isn't emotional. A lot of people want to feel emotional motivation, but it's the wiring of your identity. Now, the third step is this loop of habitual behavior. Momentum comes from that loop. I refer to it as the hunting loop, not motivation. Your brain builds identity through evidence. When you act quickly and consistently, your brain updates the story about you. We'll just refer to that as your identity for right now. And it says things like, I'm the one who moves now. I'm the one that follows through. I'm the one that finishes what he starts. That's how identity rewires itself, through proof. Once that identity locks in, drive becomes automatic. I hate the word motivation and the whole idea, but think of it as motivation is a spark and the identity is the engine that really gets it going and keeps it going. Now, this system of hunger, identity, and pursuit and the hunting loop is what I call the hunter's identity. It's not about intensity or aggression or rah bro stuff. It's about alignment. It's about reconnecting your biology to what it's designed to do. It's designed to pursue. It's natural for us. The hunter identity helps you lock on to goals faster. It helps you eliminate hesitation. It helps you feel alive in the chase again. That feeling that you were at your best, that comes back and it becomes a default state for you. You detach from comfort because you're focused on that gap, that goal, that becoming of who you need to be to get that thing. You execute with calm intensity. And the main thing I want you to understand is, again, like hunter isn't a metaphor. It is literally the biological mode in your system to do what we're built to do. It's why we have skyscrapers and airplanes and air conditionings and Rolls Royces. People hunted for that. So the last thing I want you to understand is that the goal isn't to grind harder. The goal is to make drive automatic. You don't have to. Steph Curry doesn't have to grind to shoot a basketball. He's addicted to shooting the basketball. And when you rebuild that hunter's loop, something major happens. Drive stops being a choice. Your actions start before you could come up with any excuse. When hunger and identity line up, you move fast without effort. Your brain stops debating and starts doing. And this isn't discipline. I want to be very clear. This is alignment. Discipline is something that we do have to have in our back pocket, but we don't want to depend on it every day. We want to have alignment. You stop waiting to feel like it. You don't need these motivation spikes anymore that don't actually last and nothing good actually comes from them. Movement becomes the default setting because that's what reaffirms the loop. The work feels natural again, like it used to. When your pursuit instinct turns back on, effort just feels right. It's like returning to who you've always been. Confidence comes back because confidence is proof. Fast action, quick wins, stronger identity. Your brain starts to trust you again. For elite performers, confidence isn't just emotion, it is their evidence. And I think of confidence as previous memories of successful execution. You stop drifting and stalling and second guessing. Hesitation dies when identity takes over. You stop leaking out this energy on self-doubt and insecurity and unworthiness. You become the version people already thought you were, the sharp one, the focused one, the dialed in one, the locked in one. And success becomes a side effect of having that identity. You're not chasing anything. You're naturally attracting the outcome, the side effect of having the hunter identity. And when drive is built into your system, results just happen naturally. You don't have to force them. And the biggest shift, in my opinion, is that feeling of being alive again. It's not the high pump, rah, fake bro stuff. It's just being awake. It's being present. It's being locked in and feeling ready. So the last thing I want you to understand is you were never unmotivated. You just disconnected from the system that made you driven, the system that made you hungry and tenacious, the system that made you fight for the things that you used to fight for. Now, if this helped you, like the video, subscribe to the channel, watch my next video. If you're interested in how this stuff actually works, there's a link in the bio that you can click to learn a little bit more about it. Give me a follow on Instagram, and I'll see you guys in the next one.